understand.
Welcome to Faith and Calm. This is class number 292. We are a day away from Bedikas Humetz, which means we're 2 days away from the Seder. And so we're going to talk about Passover, of course. What else is there to talk about? Either there's the clean or you're not. And talking about it is really not even the thing. It's like, I spent the entire day cleaning. That's what I was doing. So, because our cleaning help disappeared. Whatever. Got sick, whatever.
What
So,
did you
we used to
clean?
get clean. I did the refrigerator downstairs. I did the mopping. I did I covered it all, the refrigerator downstairs. I emptied the refrigerator. Then I built a pizza down there. And then I continued with the couches today. And yep, there's lots to do.
Well, you
So
eat on your couches? I guess so.
people sit, people have crumbs, and so forth like that. So we're no, everybody's always someone's more extreme than you. Like, the people who cover the couch with aluminum foil, although I think that's a joke.
Oh, come on. I don't know anyone who does that. That's pushing it.
But there you will see pictures of that, It's like, okay, so
Cartoons.
yeah, cartoons.
I
It's
know
very
someone who
funny.
puts a sheet on the couch, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yep. But anyway, so Passover. So this class is, at least my part of the class, is going to be about, that we have this idea, that you're supposed to relive and experience the whole leaving of Egypt every year. It's in the Haggadah. It says, "Behold, dor v'dor, a person is chayiv to see himself as he personally came out of Egypt." And for this idea that we personally comes out of Egypt, I mean, is it just something we sort of like, we're playing games, we're imagining things or something like that? I mean, is it this, is that how we're supposed to feel? And because it was 2000 plus 2500 years ago and so forth like that. Um, and and so the idea is that there's two. Mitzrayim is the word for Mitzrayim, means straits, limitations, boundaries, and then basically on a psychological, spiritual level, it means the shackles that hold us down and keep us from being who we can possibly be. That we have to all personally find the things that are restraining us and limiting us, and get out of those limitations. And Passover is the time for us to explore that, and that was what we do at the Seder. And so, yes, you have to see yourself in person, experience it, and feel it personally. That this is actually we have a freedom, and so
That
to
means you have to feel your own personal geula.
right, right, and
But what if you don't?
I'll explain. Of course, you don't. We don't. I feel like, right now, just having complete slave mode. So, and and there's a lot of things that are affecting me. So, infecting all of us, and it is not only the personal, but also the whole, situation and with the Jews and Israel and anti-Semitism, all these other things that seem to tie us down and so forth. So here we have, all these things that are building up, and we need to get free. And so let's talk about that in the context of an interesting line that we don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to in the Haggadah. I think I mentioned this one before in a previous class, but I'm going to dive into it a different way, and hopefully this will be more. We'll be able to understand it. So in the at the end of the Haggadah, before we get into all the action stuff, we read the Dayenus, and one of the Dayenus that we read is if if God, if God split the Yam Suf and he did not pass us through on dry land, that would be enough. Dayenu, because Dayenu means enough. And of course, the rabbis all ask the question about this. What do you mean it's enough? If he takes us to the Kriyas Yamsuf and he shows us the way across, and then he splits the sea, and then we're stuck with the Egyptians, and we still have to go back to Egypt. What do you mean that's enough? It's not enough. Nothing happened. If we don't get to the other side, what's the enough business? Dayenu. So it's a strange idea that we say Dayenu there. And so what we have to understand is the following: that what is this idea of splitting the sea? And why did God have to do that? Is any of the miracles? He could have used a lot of different other kinds of miracles to get us out of Egypt. So the idea of water and land have two separate concepts. Creatures of the water need the water to live. I think that's sort of obvious, right? If you take a fish and you say a fish out of water, it don't live all too long. It always needs to be, it's an environment. It always needs to be surrounded by the water. And it's always also concealed. We don't see what's going on in the water. I mean, you don't know what's on the bottom. You don't know what the fish are doing and so forth. It hides everything inside of it. That's the property of water. And dry land is the opposite idea, that what is makes a land animal live with water, he would drown. He needs to be exposed and he needs to be feel like he's in existence. You're always constantly doing for your own existence. So on the spiritual level, what this means is as follows, like angels and souls, they in fish, they always want to be connected to their source, the water, meaning as follows, that when a person is aligned with God and always feels aligned and completely involved in that and realizes this is my source of my life, I don't need anything else than that. I'm connected to the main not power line, whatever, the main power line of the whole universe. I don't need these extra external things. While is the idea of living on land is as follows. I need validation. I need my health. I need this. I need that. I got a lot of needs and so forth like that. And my existence and my businesses is very, very fragile. And I could disappear if I'm not taking care of number one. And what happens, in order to go across the sea, we have to actually, I mean, you have to, that's not my place. So it seems like these two things are completely opposite. Either you're swimming and you're seamless with God, and I don't need anything else. He's taking care of everything for me. Or my animal soul is saying, no, no, no. I'm 50, I'm 60 years old, I'm 70 years old. And the minute you try and tell me to let go and let God take over and do everything for me, and he's my only source, I get very nervous about that. I get scared. As we said in a previous class, about we're talking about this mind, body, heart connection and so forth, and it's connected by this neck. The neck is the only thing that connects the two together. And so paro is the letters. Paro means arif, which means the nape of the neck, the back of the neck, and paro keeps the separation between the two. So we have this idea that I know and I understand intellectually. Of course, when I'm connected with Hashem and when I see reality and so forth, that's the most thing. Ain't no movado. There's nothing else than God. But on the other hand, I may know that intellectually, but emotionally, I may not be experiencing it at all. You can have a person who's in his head completely. He believes in Hashem, he knows the laws, he does everything. But if it's only an intellectual thing and it's not experienced, it's not embodied, if you don't actually feel it, it's a shaky thing, and somebody can shake your mind and make you go a different way because that's the nature of the mind. It can be confused one way or convinced the other way. The example that I heard from Rabbi YY about this, I thought it was good, was he said, you can have a person who's falls in love with somebody, and they're together for a number of years, and this is the right person. You feel it in your bones. You feel it through your experience. You've experienced this connection and so forth. And then your mother or your mother-in-law comes to you and tries to convince you, this was not the marriage for you. You shouldn't do it. And you're going, interesting ideas, but I've experienced this relationship. I'm connected with this person. I'm not going to change my mind about this and so forth, no matter what you say, because I've actually embodied it. So embodiment is really the name of the whole thing. When it becomes part of you, you can't use intellectual arguments to try and convince me otherwise anymore. On the other hand, the emotions could be what's running your life. In other words, you have an infatuation, you have a flirting, or whatever, somebody else, and emotionally you feel connected. In that case, you need to have the mind to pull you out. So the two things are separated. Sometimes you're living in the emotional level, and sometimes you're living on the mind level. And to connect the two together, that's difficult because to actually take what I know intellectually and to actually experience it. When I'm saying the words of prayer, when I'm doing anything in Judaism, am I just saying the words? Am I just thinking the words? Or have I actually turned it into an experience of spirituality? So that is the problem. That is the difficulty. That is the Meitzar. That is the Mitzrayim that keeps the blockage between that head and the experience and living the experience, actually feeling it. Kriyas Yamsuf is the following. It's taking the experience of this unity with God, feeling that the world is my oyster and everything is good, and being able to walk across in dry land and actually experience life while you're together with it. Does that happen easily? No, it doesn't. Is it something we have all the time? No, it's not. The idea is as follows. If you can experience it, if you can latch onto this like once in a day or once in a week, and you know that it's true, and you actually you hang on to that, then you can actually try and transform the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your year into something different. All you need to see is a glimpse of it. And that's what the Kriyas Yamsuf was about. God gave us a glimpse of what it's like to be a spiritual person, but still not disintegrating and melting away in godliness. To actually be on dry land at the same time as being in the middle of the sea at the same time. That is a glimpse of the Yetziat Mitzrayim that we have on Passover. That is the Mitzrayim. This is the leaving of exile that is the heart and core of all of Judaism. And by the way, we say it every day in the prayers. We say V'hashavta. What do we say in Shema? V'samtem al babecha v'al nafshecha. That you should put it on your soul and in your heart. Every day we're supposed to take the Shema, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is one, and actually internalize it and feel it. Not just intellectually say it, not just say the words, but actually experience it. Is that work? Yes, that's work. It's hard work to do, but that's what it means. V'yadata hayom, know first, v'hashevata elavecha, and you should put it on your heart, and you should know that there's nothing other than God. The glimpse of that little bit of experience, that little insight, a little speed is enough for maybe a month, a year, or whatever, to know what reality is and to know that God is taking care of me. He did this miracle for me. I'm so much happy with him. I'm in love with him. That's why I became from. That's why I connected. I saw something. I felt it was true. I embodied that experience. And that changes a person. That changes a person, that brings them Yetziat Mitzrayim. And it helps in order to be able to start working on that to try and make it this experience for the rest of the year. But we need that little miraculous glimpse at the beginning. And that's what Passover is about, eating, trusting in Hashem, working through very hard to get to that point, and finally you get that experience of the Seder, and you actually have an experience of wow, this year it's going to be this is going to be different because this year I actually got a glimpse of that a little bit, and I saw what it's everything else that all the other survival mechanisms that my brain says I need this and I need that and I need this and I need that and so forth. And you know what? Those are all that's what Paro constantly tries to do to us. Make ourselves afraid, make ourselves worried, make ourselves anxious. He's always, and he's got good reasons, and he's right. We know he's right intellectually because we are land creatures, and we've for many years we experienced that. If I'm not taking care of myself, it's going to fall all apart. And so he's always giving you those good arguments and so forth. And Passover is about walking like the Jews did in time of Mitzrayim. They actually walked into that Red Sea, took a lot of faith, took a lot of trust, and you know what? The sea split for them. And that's what we get to do on Passover, is we actually get to relive that actual experience, that we can actually let go and let God take control. Okay? I understand. I understand. Emotionally, you say, I can't do that. And you know what? I understand that
I,
100%.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sit through it because I have so much pain
Yeah,
in my bottom where I sit.
yeah, yeah. That,
Yeah.
not
I
knowing,
mean,
not knowing how I'm going to get to Passover and not how I'm going to get through the Passover and how it's going to get shown up at the Seder and
and
how
I
my wife
certainly
and I are
can't
going
do B'dika
it's
Summit.
all about the experience, the pre-Passover experience. So you're experiencing a legitimate, authentic pre-Passover experience. I'm giving a blessing that by the time it comes to the Seder, we should all be in Yerushalayim, Eretz Hashem,
I
Hoshana
mean,
Haba this
wait,
year
wait, wait. You just said we should all be in Mitzrayim.
in this is
Yerushalayim,
Yerushalayim,
yes.
Yerushalayim,
Oh, okay. I'm
Yerushalayim.
wearing my hearing aids. I just
Oh yeah,
misinterpreted.
I'm not
I
doing one of
didn't
those
think
tours.
so.
I'm not doing the Passover tour for Mitzrayim, for the
Right, right.
hotels. Yeah, we're not doing that one this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny that Mitzrayim was mentioned here because a day ago, I don't know if it's true, but I read in the news. Are you still recording? Are you
yeah, yeah,
recording?
yeah,
I
yeah.
read in the news that in some Israelis, religious people flew through Egypt Airlines, and Egypt Airlines employees commanded them to take off kippahs. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like Egypt is still the same.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
we
the
have a
same.
neighbor across the street. He was learning. He's a young boy. He's the son of the people across the street, and he was learning in Israel. And he and his whole yeshiva wanted to come back to America for Passover, and so they took a bus and they went through Egypt. And the Egyptians are being really nasty at their airport, and you can't have any visible signs that you're Jewish. You can't pray in the airport. They had tickets. They got through, but they're just being really, really nasty about everything. Um, he did not, but the yarmulke. But then now the later groups they have to take off their yarmulke and so forth. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Egyptians, Jews are escaping Egypt again this year. That's how you get out of Israel right now. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera over to my wife, and we'll wish everybody the most freedom ever from this Passover. This Passover should really cause us to leave all of our mitzvah. Okay.
I
Happy
mean,
kosher Passover.
I mean, I mean, I mean. It's so funny. We can't hear you again.
Can't hear me?
Right now,
Now we
yes.
can.
Right now, yes.
But when you were further back, yeah, we couldn't hear you. It's so weird. It's very bizarre, Shalom Yehudis.
It's an internet connection.
I'm shouting.
No, no, we can't.
For a second, we could.
Check connections.
We had no problem hearing him.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no.
Right now, yes. Right
You
now,
hear me,
yes.
right? You hear me,
Yes.
Right.
right?
Okay, maybe I'll move this thing right near me. It's weird. I didn't have to do this in any other week. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine.
What
Okay.
was the reason? What was the reason?
No, I have no idea. You can still hear me?
Yes, yes. I believe it's connection. My connection is on and off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go through what I say initially, and then I'm going to.
Now it's off.
I want my money back. Sorry.
Now it's off.
Okay, I hit mute. Okay.
What
Okay.
something is that a wired
No,
computer?
It's wired, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so check connections.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
that's fine.
No,
She hit the mute
I
button.
moved it closer to me, and I accidentally hit the mute button. It's a new thing that we have. Okay, so I'm going to start with the four things that I always say. Number one, we're in an extraordinary time, which people around the world are picking up on it, that this is not normal. The whole war and the rise in anti-Semitism, nothing's normal. And okay, we're not in a normal time. The Rebbe explained to us in 1991 that we are in the unfolding of the redemption, and the unfolding of the redemption is going to look very much like the Exodus from Egypt. And it's a close parallel. Things got worse, and then they got better. Then they got much, much, much better. So and it wasn't until, what was the breakthrough in Israel? Not Israel, the breakthrough in Egypt, the breakthrough in Egypt were when the Jews turned to Hashem and they started davening, get us out of here and get us out of here. And until then, and as soon as they started davening to Hashem and stopped complaining to each other, then that was the moment that Hashem went to Moshe in Midian and said, you have to go back to Egypt, you have to take your people out of there. And so anyway, that's what we have to do. We have to rely only on Hashem and not on diplomacy and not on doctors and not, I mean, we have to do what we have to do, but we have to throw ourselves on Hashem. And the second thing is that we all have a vital role to play in this exciting juncture in human history. That's why we're here. That's why you and I are alive at this point, because we have a role in this whole thing. And thirdly, we have everything that we need to make a difference. We have the Torah, which is our incredible guidebook, and we have the mitzvahs, which are our power tools. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's nothing that transforms the world and the person themselves as a mitzvah. It makes you the person you always hope to be. And the more we do it, the more mitzvahs that we do, the better we do them, the more we become the person we always hope to be. So, finally, what we're doing tonight, learning about the redemption, actively advances it. So I'm going to tell a story. I meant to put it on. Can you see this picture?
Yes.
I
recognize the person from the back.
Yeah. Okay, that's my. Oh, it keeps tuning out the background. Anyway, I'm going to put maybe if I put my finger here, you see that. Oh, it doesn't
Oh,
even
there's
show
your niece. There's
maybe
your
it's the wrong.
father.
It's the wrong picture. No, here it is. It's on this side. You see a man standing over here?
Yeah.
You can barely see him. It's not focusing on him. There. So he's not alive anymore. He was our Masada Kedushin. Kedushin, that means he was the lead rabbi at our wedding, and his name was Chaim. His name was Chaim Meir Buket. And I'm going to tell a story about him that I just read. It's so, so interesting to me because this was our Masada Kedushin. Anyway, he began life in Poland in a place called, what was it called? Khmelnyk. Khmelnyk. And he was an only child. His parents adored him. He went to yeshiva. And then when he was a young bacher, probably 20 or so, in 1939, the Nazis invaded Poland. And the Polish Jews did not know what to do. They really didn't. Now we move at the drop of a hat. It's nothing. I mean, it's a very traumatic thing to move, but nothing like it was decades ago. Decades ago, people just didn't do it. They stayed in their town from birth to death. And most Polish Jews, which I can testify, neither my father's family nor my mother's family left Poland because Jews just didn't believe what would actually happen. They thought, what is he going to do? Yeah, he came to power, but what is he going to? He's going to kill us. I mean, really, what's he going to do? Nobody had a clue. They just couldn't dream that there was anything so evil in the world. They just couldn't dream of it. So anyway, he heard from the Frierdiker Rebbe, who was Rebbe back then. The Frierdiker Rebbe left Poland he left Poland in late summer of 1939, and then a lot of the yeshivas, a lot of the Chabad yeshivas, the students wanted to go. They wanted to leave, and he wanted to leave too, but his parents did not want to leave, and they didn't want him to leave them, and he didn't know what to do. He wants to be around to help his parents, but he thinks his parents are making a life and death wrong decision. And he didn't know what to do. His parents brought him around to different rabbis to talk sense to this guy, and they said, "You really think this guy's going to do? You think this Hitler is going to do anything to us? You really think he's going to do something? He's going to kill us? What do you think? What for that crazy idea? You're going to leave your parents?" But he knew the Rebbe said it, and if the Rebbe says something, it pays to listen. And so around Purim time, he decided, I can't do this. I'm going to listen. Dear parents, I'm going to listen to the Rebbe. I'm going to go. And his mother, his mother said, okay. And she sewed her ring, her only ring, into the lining of his coat in case he needed money. And the father walked with him. It was snow. Snow and ice and freezing temperatures. And he didn't have any money. I guess he just walked. He pretty much walked out of Poland. His father accompanied him for like 1 or 2 days, and then he had to go back because it was too cold for him. And the kid kept going, and he eventually crossed the border and he got to Vilna, and he found other yeshiva bachrim, and eventually they found their way to Shanghai, and they lived in Shanghai through the end of the war, and they were able to make it to America.
And they
So,
even have books talking about the Jews of Shanghai, whatever.
right, that's
There's,
right.
yeah, there's a few of them. I read a few of them. No,
Yes,
when talking about them leaving. Yeah. Anyway, I don't mean
yes.
to go on just
So
in case
anyway,
anybody wants to know.
so that thing that he separated from his parents and he actually left, it saved his life. But he was always burdened. Did I do the right thing? Was it right to leave my parents? Did I do the right thing? I know I survived, and I know what happened in Poland, but did I do the right thing? He became, he was a good student, and he became a rabbi, he became a teacher, and he became the head of, I believe, the first Lubavitch yeshiva in Crown Heights, or the biggest Lubavitch yeshiva in Crown Heights. It was actually outside the borders of Crown Heights, but all the kids went there, and he was a workaholic. He almost never rested, and every 2 weeks he would go into Manhattan to check. There were new lists of survivors, people, new names of people who had survived the
Oh,
war, and he went in every 2 weeks, and he never found his parents' names. And then his wife gave birth to their first daughter, and for their first kid, I guess. And he wanted to. He figured my parents probably didn't make it. If that's the case, I want to name my daughter after my mother. And so he asked the Frierdiker Rebbe, who was in America at that time, and he said, "Should I name this newborn girl after my mother?" And the Frierdiker Rebbe said, "Yes, you should name her after your mother." And so he knew my mother's not alive. The Frierdiker Rebbe would never have given me permission.
oh,
He would never have given me permission to name my daughter after her.
oh.
It's interesting. There's
Didn't realize that was the reason he was asking.
no, the Rebbe knew, but yes, the mother would like this this young girl to be named after her, and
No, 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 no. But you're like asking, should I name because you want to know if your mother's still alive?
yes, and
Right.
he
It's
got
not
his
like
answer.
about the naming of the
Yes,
daughter. It's more
yes,
about
he got
that.
the
It's
answer. He got the answer,
right.
and
Oh,
as a side note, I remember a story. There's a famous story about there was a in all the Israeli wars, there was a lieutenant or something like that who was devastated because there were like 30 because of one venture that they went on, 30, 30, 30, 34 of his men got killed, and he had such a heavy heart, and he went to Crown Heights and he talked to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, "Oh, because all 36 died, whatever." And he corrected the Rebbe. He said 34. And then I was wondering, why did the Rebbe say 36? When he got out of there and he flew back to Israel, he found out, well, they found another two bodies. It was 36.
oh.
So later I think he asked the Rebbe, he said, Rebbe, how did you know? No, I'm in the upper echelon of the military. How did you know? And the Rebbe said the Rebbe never made disclosures about 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 the amazing things that he did. But he did make a disclosure to this guy. He said, every soul that is born, every Jewish soul that is born, and every Jewish soul passes away, passes through this room before they're born and before they pass, or I guess right after they pass away. So he
What,
knows
he
who's
sees them
born.
like go, the neshamas like running by?
They encounter him.
Apparently.
They come for like a yechidus. They come to see the Rebbe. So it's not funny. It's like it's interesting.
No, the way you said it, they come for
Like a
you.
yechidus. Yeah, it's like a yechidus, you know?
No, I
So
know. It's just that they're not alive, so whatever.
yes.
You're
So
comparing it to
anyway,
like a regular person's.
yes. And what's a neshama? The only thing that's
I
different is it
believe you. No,
body. It doesn't have a body. That's the only thing that's different. So anyway, um, so he stopped checking the
I'm not
list.
mocking you.
Now he knew his mother was not alive. Now let's fast forward 20 years. It's now 1968. And he is still an incredible workaholic. And he already has a married daughter who lives in California. She's the shaliach. Her husband and she are the shluchim at UCLA. And he's working so hard, he ends up having a heart attack. And his daughter in California had already begged him, come visit me, come visit me. And now she was insisting, you come here and you take a vacation. You come here and you take a vacation. Listen, Abba, you've got to come here. And he said, no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. But she kept begging him and begging him. And then finally said, okay, I'll ask the Rebbe. Whatever the Rebbe says, that's what I'll do. And he went and he asked the Rebbe, should I go to California? And the Rebbe said two words in Hebrew, Kedaihu, meaning it's worthwhile. And Rabbi Buchan knew the Rebbe very well. This is a very unusual expression. It was a very unusual expression for the Rebbe. The Rebbe, would usually just give a blessing or something like that. But Gedaihu, this is worthwhile. It's a worthwhile trip. And so he knew, I think there's something I'm supposed to do out there. The Rebbe would often send people to Timbuktu and would barely tell them what to do. And amazing things would happen to that person. So anyway, he kept in the back. He decided he bought train tickets for him, his wife, and his four younger kids, and off they went to California. It took like 3 or 4 days to get across the country, and they arrived on a Thursday afternoon, and the daughter said, "Listen, this is the plan, Abba. We'll all go to the Chabad house you'll go to the Chabad house and my husband or whatever, and on Friday night to daven, and then you'll come back to our house for a meal." And the father said, and Rabbi Buchan said, no way, no. He said, yes, I'm going to go to the Chabad house, but I'm not coming back for a family meal. The Rebbe sent me here. There's something that is worthwhile for me to be here. Maybe there's somebody I have to meet at this Chabad house. And so he went to the Chabad house, and they had set a head table for him because they knew he was going to come for the meal. And he said, no way. I'm not sitting at the head table. I'm here for a reason. I'm going to sit with the kids. And he went and he sat between two guys, and he was talking, and he started talking a lot. He was a very inspiring person. He started talking a lot. And one of the kids, and he had a very Yiddish accent, and one of the kids answered him in perfect Yiddish. And Rabbi Buchan said, what is this? You speak perfect Yiddish. And the guy said, yeah, my grandfather came from a place called Khmelnyk in Poland. It was a small town. They didn't even have running water. They only had this red pump in the middle of the town, and everybody was so friendly, and they spoke in Yiddish. And he's thinking, my God, that was my town, the red pump. He knows everything about it. He was shocked. Anyway, he forbrained with them. He spoke to all the young people for many, many, many hours. And at the end of that night, the boy who had told him that his grandparents are from Khmelnyk said, you know what? There is a society for people from Khmelnyk right here in LA. And so as soon
Right.
as he heard that, as soon as he heard that the words that the Rebbe told him, it's Kadai, this is a worthwhile trip, came to his head. And he said, and he found out more about that society. They invited him to come speak, and he went gladly to go speak. And the boy had told him most of the people, or many of those people, they were formerly observant, but since the war, they're not observant. and so a lot of them came, and he spoke for hours from the heart, saying, yes, I know it's incredible what we went through. I went through it. It's just terrible what we went through, but there is a God in heaven, and there is still a plan, and there's a role that we have to play, and we play it by doing Torah and mitzvos. And the people were very inspired, and somebody posted somewhere, not the whole they post not everybody from the group came, so somebody posted that this was an incredible night, and he's still in town for a while more. If you want to get in touch with him, he's the grandson of the shochet in Khmelnyk, and he's from Khmelnyk. If you want to meet up with him, contact him this through this student. And so he was staying on at his daughter's house, and he got a phone call. And the woman said, I got your number. I'm also part of the Kamelnik Society. I didn't come that night, but I heard about you. And she said, and I want to meet with you because I have something very important to tell you. And she said, let's meet at UCLA at the Chabad house. And he agreed. And he told his family, come with me. I want us all to wear Shabbos outfits because I have a feeling she has something very important to tell me just from the way she said it. And he came, and she was there. And she said, in 1943, I was on the same cattle car as your mother. And the train was going for hours and hours. And I was paying attention, and I noticed that when the train had to make a very sharp turn, it would slow down dramatically. She said, I want to jump. Whenever the next time we get to one of those really sharp turns, it's going much slower. I want us to jump. And the mother said, no, I'm not going to jump. I'm older already. I'm not going to survive the fall. But I will help you. I'll boost you up out of the window. And that's what the mother did. And while she was boosting her up, the mother said, I have a mission for you. If you survive, and I hope you will, and if you ever meet my son is Chaim Meir Buket, and if you ever meet my son, tell him these words: you did the right thing. You did the right thing to leave me and Abba. I'm so happy you did it. Now we'll have at least somebody to remember us. We'll have some way that our family continues. You did the right thing. And so and that was the message. So this was how many years after? This was an incredible amount of years after. And how did this come to be? Number one, he saved his life, and he helped save that girl's life because his mother, whatever, he didn't help us save this girl's life, but his life was saved, and that girl's life was saved. Why was his life saved? Because he listened to the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he left Poland, even though it broke his heart to leave Poland. And then in America, how was his heart finally at peace after 30 years? His heart was finally at peace after 30 years because he listened to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, Kedaihu, it's worthwhile, go. And so anyway, I just wanted next week, Chol Hamoed, Monday, we're also going to have a session. I'm going to tell another story even better than this one, and it's a story about Pesach and the Rebbe, and but the message, like the Rebbe before Pesach, the Rebbe would send Shmur Matzah to Timbuktu. He would send it to individuals who really needed some kind of fortification, and the message that all the shluchim got from this is that you have to go light up another Jew. Whatever you do, you have to go light up another Jew. Now, sometimes it's sending matzah, sometimes it's simply being interested in another person, showing them in whatever way you can that they count. And even if you feel superior to them, even if you feel like, oh, these people are they don't have their act together, they don't have anything together. No, you have to extend yourself. It's another Jew. We have to light each other up, and that's as I said in last week or the week before, that there was a sage, Yochanan Bentura. I can't remember if that was his first name, and he's quoted in the Gemara as saying, "Why was the second temple destroyed? The first temple was destroyed because of murder, incest, murder, yeah, murder, incest, not incest,
Adultery.
illicit relations,
Adultery.
illicit relations, and yeah, adultery. Okay, it's a simpler word. And shvichas damim, illicit relations, and idol worship. The second temple, the time of the second temple wasn't like that. People weren't worshiping idols. They didn't have illicit, they weren't having adultery, and they weren't killing people. So why? Why? And it's been the first one went on for only 70 years, and this one is thousands of years, a couple thousand years. Why? And this sage, Yochanan ben Tursa, I know it's ben Tursa, he answered because of sinas chinam, because of unwarranted hatred among Jews. So anyway, Nisan is the month of our redemption,
It's
and
very sad.
we have to do everything we can to, and each one of us can do more. Each one of us knows somebody that we're impatient with, somebody that we judge constantly, judge. And so we have to just remember that
I hope not.
yeah, Hashem
I
gave
hope not
everybody,
about the
okay,
judge part.
okay, I hope not. But Hashem gave everybody what they need, and we have to help each other. And we have to look at, we look at each other with a very, very, very kind eye. So anyway, I'm so happy to see you. And may you have a wonderful Pesach. May we all do it together in Yerushalayim. And if so, Yaskel Shunem and I will still find you, and we'll have our shiur next Monday night. Bli Nader. Okay, be well, everyone. And
Happy
yeah,
kosher Pesach.
you're welcome. Okay, good.
I,
Thank
I,
you all.
I'm waiting for you to make a comment about something.
Okay, your cute hair. 1 second, let me turn off the recording.